Hi, everybody. I'm Diane Evans with stampinwithdiane.com. I'm an independent Canadian Stampin' Up demonstrator here in the interior of British Columbia. So if this is one of your first times joining me, make sure that you do subscribe. Make sure that you hit that bell and you'll get notified every time that I do go on live or I publish a video. So welcome. Today is part of a Festive Friday challenge that I'm actually doing. And the challenge is bees. And so I want to, and I'm actually going to skip on right down. Let's just push this over this way. And so we are going to do, I think these are called a diorama card, or it could be a shadow box type card. I had done this a couple of months ago, actually, for my online class that I do every Tuesday night. It's a free online class that I do. But a lot of this stuff that's in here particularly is retired. So I wanted to do one up and coming because it goes along with Festive Friday challenge. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this. Now, the supplies that you're actually going to need for this, and let me just put that off to the side, is I'm going to be using the Flowering Tulips. I really like this particular stamp set. That one had the happiest of birthdays, and that's now retired, but no one deserves a happier birthday than you. I thought that would be a really nice sentiment to put at the bottom. And then these Flowers of Friendship, we're going to use this. And of course, there's a punch that goes along with it, and it's called Flowers and Leaves. Let me see. I'm just going to actually go right down so we see the whole thing. So this punch goes together. It's not classed as a bundle anymore, but I want to make special note of this fantastic card. It's thank you for everything. Many thanks from all of us. And then this one is what really sets me off as little card, big thanks. So we're going to be using that stamp set. And then, of course, to make the bee, we're going to be using the Ladybug. So I'll show you how to do that. And let's see, what else are we going to be using? We're also going to be using the new stylish shapes. I'm using one of the stitch circles. You'll see when I cut the circle out, it'll be stitched on the part that I cut out, but I'd like the stitching that's going to be on the front of my card as well. And then the layering circles. Now the cardstock, although I'm going to be posting this on the blog with the measurements, you are going to cut two pieces. Now, if you want them to be the front and the back to be exactly the same, what you're going to do is you cut them different, the same color, but I want mine to be, I could have done it in yellow in the So Saffron, but you know what? I'm okay to do it with the basic white. This is thick basic white, and this is So Saffron, and they're cut at 6 1/4 by 5 1/2. Now, I've gone ahead and scored this one already, but I'm going to show you how you score this. Now, I don't know if you have a Stampin' Up cutter. One of the hardest things to do is to measure when it's past 6 inches. So I'm going to show you what I actually did with my cutter, because this is 6 1/4, and it's very, very difficult to find the 6 1/4 inch mark. So I went and I took a white gel pen and I just marked where it's 6 1/4. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to score this on the 6 1/4 inch side. We're going to score it at a 1/2 inch. And I'm just using the opposite side, like a 1/2 inch over here, 1/2 inch here. So I'm just going to go a 1/2 inch, and then we're going to go down to 1 inch. And then we can turn it around, or we can just go ahead and put it off to this side. But you know what? I'm just going to turn it around for simple scoring. Whoops, where did my scoring blade go to? I just lost it. How can I just lose that scoring blade? Here we go. So add a 1/2 inch on this side, and then we're going to go put this up to 1 inch on this side. And this is what's going to give us that shadow box, or like I said, I'm not sure what they were. Anyways, there we go there with our trimmer. And then we're going to come in with our bone folder, and we're just going to fold that. Now, I happen to be folding all of this into the mountain. I might change that as I go. So just like that. And we're going to do the same. It's actually going to go like this. We're going to do it like an accordion fold. And I'm going to do the same with this one, with the So Saffron. The Bumblebee was a great color for this particular, to do the bee, but it works great with the So Saffron as well. Okay. So then this will just score as an accordion, like so. Score this like an accordion there. Now, the next thing that we want to do is we want to go in and we want to cut the circles on this card. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to go about doing that. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to cut, and this took a bit of thinking on my part, just because that's me. You want to cut the small one first. So I have this, but also I forgot to mention this. I have two pieces of this. This happens to be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Now, one is going to go onto here on the inside. Now, I could change up the colors for the inside, but the reason I am putting an inside on here is because I'm going to be using stamping blends. And you can see on this card that it actually came through to the other side. So I didn't want that to happen. So I'm going to stamp on that insert. And then this black part is going to be like for this circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line up this black onto the back. And I'm going to use my Post-it note tape. And I don't want it moving until I actually get it cut through. And then I'm putting the small circle on first. And this is so important that you remember that the small circle goes on first. Because if you cut that big circle, then you're not going to have that layer, right? So if I just do this like this, I'm kind of eyeballing where that's going to go. But I'm going to cut the two of them out together. And with our cut and emboss machine and these layering circle dies, we can do that. It'll work just fine. So I'm just going to bring in my cut and emboss machine. And then let's just run this through. So just like that, we'll run it through. And we're going through the two pieces of cardstock. So you know what? I think I might go back through. Not that I think we really need it, but I'm going to do that. I'm just going to take that off. Just move this out of the way just for a second. Oops. Good. Not sure what that is. Something from maybe the plates. All right, so you can see it cut right through. We can take this off very carefully with this Post-it note tape. So we've got those. We can use those for something else. And then I want to take this part off. Just like that. And then I'm going to line up that larger one. And like I say, this is from the Stylish Shapes. So what I want to do is I want to get that in such a spot and even all the way around. So I'm going to use my Post-it note tape again once I've got it where I want it. Wait till you see this. It looks so neat. You know, I'll just grab another piece of Post-it note tape. Now, is that centered? Pretty much. I'm just going to go ahead and use that there. So I'm going to bring in my cut and emboss again. Whoops. And we're just going to run this one through. And then you'll see how this is going to give me my my layer, and it's going to be stitched as well. This is probably not going to be as big as mine on my original card because I'm using that different set of dies, that stitched dies. Let's get that out of the way now. So let's see how that's going to turn out. So see, when I cut that out, you get the stitches around there. That might be good for something. Just going to take this part off and see how they're stitching around there. I really like the residue part gets stitched as well. Okay, so now we can go ahead and attach this. I'm not seeing that, thank heavens. Normally that Post-it note tape doesn't stick that well. All right, so let me just take that part off. Just going to come in with my Take Your Pick tool. This part off. I don't use that end of the Take Your Pick tool that often, so. All right, so now this is going to go, and see how that has that markings on there. Let me see if I can rub that off. There we go. This is something we used to sell. I think you can get it at different stores now. All right, so this is just going to go like so, like so. But this piece here, you're going to see that it's going to allow you to go here, and that gives you that frame. It is actually just a little bit bigger. Now, what I'm going to do, because I want it to be popped up to give a bit of dimension on it. So I'm just going to come in with my black dimensionals. And I'm going to pop up the dimensionals around where the frame would go. And then I don't mind if the rest is sitting down onto, onto the card. So now what I want to do is, let's just take these off. This is probably going to be one of the most difficult parts, is to get this lined up. Probably shouldn't have put that part on there. All right. So, because my table is raised, I've got to come down. Let me just put it off to the side so that I'm not... See what I mean? This would be the most difficult part. You know what? I should have come from this side too, because I know that that part went in the middle. Okay, so let's try this again. And you know, I'm going to show you something that you can do. Oops. Sorry, this is just goes up like this, and I'm going to actually put this dimensional back there. So what you can do is you can take your silicone mat, and we are just actually going to put the silicone right on the bottom there. And I don't want that silicone to attach to this part yet. So let me go back in. Oops, I'm not going to see that silicone through there. Let's see, let's try this again. Like I said, this is going to be the most difficult part. Because it's just lining it up, and it's just because I can't see where I'm lining it up to, and I may have to go in and trim it a little bit. There we go. Get a bit of glue up there. So, all right. Yep, that looks not too bad. And it is a little off here. So let me just see if I can get it so that it's, because I did have it lined up on the inside. You know what? We're going to go ahead and we're going to trim this. Kind of a Jimmy way of doing it, but we're going to do it this way because we don't want to be playing around too much with that. We don't want to play too much with the adhesive on there. There there's that. And that's enough on that side. And we may have to trim just a little bit off the bottom here. Like I say, I'm sorry for that part because it should have lined up because I had it all lined up on the inside. So is that going to be not interfere there? Let's see. So by me showing you this, I'm showing you what not to do. Okay. All right. So we have that like that. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to attach that. But what we want to do is I want to go in with my piece that's going to be the layering. So again, we're going to try to line that up. We'll be okay with this piece, I believe. So I'm just going to come in with a pencil. And I just want to have a bit of a guideline of where this circle is going to be for my stamping purposes. So I have this stamp. I've already mounted it on there. And I'm going to come in with my Memento ink. Let's just ink this thing up. It's not a person. Oh my goodness, I'm losing it. So we're just going to go here. I want it a little bit off to the left-hand side. So let's just stamp that there. Like that. And then we're going to come in with our blends. And we're going to use So Saffron and Daffodil Delight. And we're also going to use Old Olive. So I've got those colors there for me. Just going to let that sit for a bit. So while we're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and let's make our bumblebee. So I have, oh, you know what? I have my black. So let's go ahead and let's cut out the body. This was just a scrap piece that I have. So just like that. We're also going to go ahead and cut out the wings from vellum. And then I also have some 1/4-inch strips of So Saffron, and I'm going to use that to, I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to use this to make my stripes on there. Pretty easy. Now, I've seen people that curve it. I don't think it needs to be curved. So I'm just going to come in and we're just going to put some So Saffron there. Got another piece. I probably should have let this set a bit. Because I see that the glue's coming out. And then I'm going to come in and we're just going to take another piece and just do it along the bottom. And I'm going to show you a tip that's really good to do with the glue, the excess glue. So let me see this. We're just going to put that off to the side and let that sit, and then we can trim that down. All right, so how we're going to color this is I'm just going to come in with my light Old Olive. Whoops. Sure didn't want to do that, but that's okay. I'm just going to color the stems. Now this came out a bit, so I want to kind of cover that up. And let's go in and just do the leaves. So I always come in with the lighter color first. Stampin' Up's really good that they have, they do an awful lot of the shading for us. And this was actually a flower, not a leaf. That's fine. I can fix that up in just a second. So I'm just going to do the leaves. Come in with this. I could make that a leaf. There's nothing saying it has to be a flower. And then I'm just going to come back in and just do circle motions. And I'm going to take those lines away from there. All right. Then we're going to also, I have a piece of basic white. And I want to come in with my Memento. And I just want to ink up, and now I see I have to ink this one up and change the color of that flower. So this is just going to come like this. Now, this does not get cut out. You would do layering circles with the punch. However, I'm going to cut it out because I only want a certain portion of it. I'm not sure if these are, yeah, there we go. So lighter color down first. And this is probably, this is the light Daffodil Delight. Didn't use the So Saffron, but that's okay. So we're just going to go there, and I'm going to cover this piece up there. So I'm going to cut it out and change that. Then I'm going to use the dark. Just down like this. And then I'm going to come back in with my, this will probably be light Daffodil Delight. Thought I was going to use So Saffron. This is dark So Saffron. So I'm just going to go in and mark that up. Doing a kind of a flicking motion with it. You don't want to see those lines. There we go. And then what we're going to do is we are going to fussy cut this. And because I made an error, that's why I'm fussy cutting this particular one. Can't believe, when you do these cards, you do them up such a long time in advance that a lot of times you don't see, you forget what you've done with them. So, all right, I don't have my little baby dimensionals, but we'll work on this. So this is going to come, I'm just going to cut this piece out as well. Just like that. I'm going to come in and just put a piece of my dimensional. A mess going for me here. Let's just trim that part off. Put a piece of our dimensionals on there. 6. So like I say, this is a card I showed the people that attended my online class. It's a free class that I do every Tuesday night at 6:30 Pacific time. And we might do something that's very, very simple. Sometimes we do fancy folds. I don't go too intricate on the fancy folds just because of the learning curve and having everybody have to cut their own papers. So simple, maybe fun fold might be the route to go. Right, so this is just going to go on there like so. All right, so there's that piece there. Now I can come in with my Ladybug, and let's just trim this guy off. So like I say, there is a way with the particular punch that we could round these off, these pieces. Okay. And one more. Oops. There we go. So there's our bee. Let's just move this out of the way. And now, and you know what? I won't be able to find those. There we go. So now I'm going to put the wings on, and I use the vellum, and I'm going to put glue on there because we're okay. And I'm just going to put the glue right on here. Now I could have used a glue dot. A glue dot would have worked as well. And that might have been the better choice. Let's just put that like that. We're going to let that dry just a bit more. but we also have our matte black dots that we can go ahead and we can use those as embellishments on the bee. So, just going to move my blends out of the way. Come in with my take your pick tool, and I'm going to use one of the big ones to cover this dot here. Actually, I want to move that up just a bit. Just like so. Oops. Yeah, I probably should have used a glue dot there. It would have been better because it wouldn't have moved. And the two small ones on the side. Like so. Okay, one there. Put another one over there. Now, before we put this part together, now what we want to do too is we want to make sure that we put our sentiment on. So I'm just going to come in with this bee and just put that off. We are going to pop that one up, but I'm going to watch where I'm going to put it because I want to make sure that it shows in the circle itself. All right, so we do have a bit of the dimension down there. So I'm going to come in with my memento with that sentiment. And we are going to put it down about here where it's lower than the where that dimensional is right there. So let's ink that up really good. I'm really taking a chance putting this on here. If it doesn't work, I'll just cover it with another frame. It'll work. It'll work. So let's just make sure that's good and stamped. Put that in the middle. There we go. That worked. All right. So like I say, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to position this in such a way that when I put this frame on, it's going to be in the right spot. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue that down. See how that comes to the back, the blends. So that's why I wanted to make sure that there was an inside layer on there. So we're just going to position that kind of in the center. Sorry about bumping the camera there. It's like wearing a pair of white pants. You always seem to get it dirty, right? All right. So now I can sit there and I can position. I'm going to put some black dimensionals on the back side of this bumblebee. So nice when you can have a punch and it works into different things, right? There we go. Now, let's see. Position it right about there. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my tear and tape. And we're just going to put this right along this edge here. And another one right along this edge. And all on the back, you've got all that room to write on the back of the card, like so. All right, so let's take this tear and tape off. So I'm going to just line it up. And this piece, when it's folded down, fits perfectly into a card. And I'll show you that in just a second. Or right into an envelope, I mean. Some of this residue on there. So I'm just going to line this part up here. There we go. So if you've never subscribed before, make sure that you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Really do appreciate that. Give me the thumbs up. Also, make sure, oh, I got some stuff there, some glue. Also, make sure that you share my video. And also, if you live in Canada and do not have a demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. I have a very generous reward program. Right. So when this goes in like this, you put that in there like that, which I'm just going to go and we're going to score it. That fits right into one of our envelopes. But is that not a cute card? Celebrating Festive Fridays. Awesome. So there you go. There's the two of them. One's in the Bumblebee, one's in the So Saffron. I kind of like the So Saffron one. Well, basically, that's the only choice that we do have. So thanks so much for joining me. If you want to see other videos, make sure that you, like I say, subscribe. I do a number of different things. I go from one style to another style, just because that's the way that I kind of go. So anyways, you guys have a great day and bye for now.